Quick snap.
In this quick snap, I'm going to talk about some adjustments to motions out of a 4-2-5 structure, or I guess any defensive structure where you've got ultimately 5 defensive backs. Saw a question posted about it on the Facebook defensive coordinator group. And before we get into adjusting the motions, why some coaches prefer operating out of 2 high, why I believe in it. It's not the end-all be-all. I'll talk just briefly about cover 3 and cover 1 at the end here, but the reason some coaches prefer to operate out of a 2 high structure in a 4-2-5 defense or anything defensively coverage-wise, my experience, running palms or 2 read gives you both the benefits of cover 4 and cover 2. And real quickly what that 2 read is and why some coaches choose to base out of this is it's still sound. We got 6 in the box and a 7th can add very, very quickly. Might have to do some coverage things if somebody runs an RPO and get into more man situations, but that's a whole nother topic. But the benefit of palms or 2 read, if everyone goes vertical, it's cover 4. It's ultimately that corner is going to man up number 1. You get a reroute out of the rover, and you get the seam double teamed. Okay, so there's the cover 4 type match. However, if 2 would run something immediately to the flats and especially bubble, now you can get a cover 2 match. Key idea, that corner needs to come through the outside of number 1, or if he goes inside, he flat out, he has to make the play. Otherwise, we're in bad shape. And the reason that corner needs to go outside, that bubble has to come back. Pursuit can get there if the bubble's thrown. If it's something like fake bubble go or bubble slant, that forces the receiver inside, the number 1 receiver inside. The safety can go match it. If it's going deep, again, the safety can get there. If it's something more that's a slant, the down defender, the rover, nickel, Sam, whatever you want to call him, he can match that slant. So that's the benefits of 2 read. So now handling motions, the way I've handled those, the way teams I've coached have chosen to handle that, the other coaches, the defensive back coach that I was working with, the way we ended up handling it. So we get motion to the field, creating a new number 3, or maybe it's jet motion, either one. If we want to keep running essentially 2 read, we will roll to cloud coverage. Roll cloud. That's going to keep everything the same. The roll, backside corner, he's going to roll, man up number 1. Now, he's got to be able to man that guy up. That's a whole other topic. If that guy's really, really good, you might have to consider a different coverage. This is not ideal for that, because that is a one-on-one. The backside safety, we coached him, you're rolling over, you're going to be between 3 strong and 2 weak / number 4. So right now, this look, we tell him, again, it depends on where that guy goes, but like right there, that's splitting those 2 guys. The other rule, never go past about the middle of the field. Okay? Never get past the middle of the field because the routes are coming back if they're sending them vertical. The free is going to roll to just outside of number 2. He's got to be able to get to number 1. If that split between 1 and 2 gets too wide, rolling cloud is probably not a good idea. And now we can still, basically, it's 2 read, but we're also going to read 3. If any of these guys bubble, if either of those guys will bubble, corner's doing the same thing, go through the outside of number 1, squeeze them. The free will match if it's something like fake bubble go. So 1 goes deep, 2 goes deep, 3's on his bubble, they fake that. We've got the free, can match the vertical 1. The backside safety can match the vertical of number 2. The corner has the flats, reroute the inside route by the rover. So that's our cloud. Someone would ask, oh, what if it's vertical? What if they're all 3 are vertical? Well, the corner's looking, and just like you would in 2 read, corner's looking, everyone goes vertical. Okay, now the inside linebacker, Matt, Mike, whatever you want to call him, he's going to reroute that 3. Rover's going to reroute the 2. Free's going to stack them. And the corner sees nothing there. Hey, carry one. Carry one. Work to inside leverage over the course of the play. Okay. And the other benefit of that cloud, if somebody comes at you with jet sweep, with this guy, oh, there's really only two verticals. The corner can be super aggressive, set the edge, make sure the ball goes back to pursuit. So that is the benefit of rolling cloud and operating out of that too-high structure. If the other option is rolling to sky, so rolling sky. So everything going on the same. We either got jet motion or motion to trips. Backside, I'm going to man up one with the corner. Backside safety is going to come over. Let's put three just a little bit wider. So now, why would we want to roll sky? A couple reasons. Number one, if this split, say one's really, really wide, the free is not going to be able to both play a vertical of two if all three guys go vertical, and be able to jump out and get to number one if something goes to the flat. So that's one reason to roll sky. The other reason to roll sky, you want that rover tighter to the box. Whether you're gonna, he's just there for run support, because in the end that is a 7-man box. If somebody's running their quarterback, they've got the two backs and the 5 linemen in the box. They got 7 guys there. You got to match it with 7 guys. Or you're running some sort of pressure, rolling sky. Might be something you already have called pre-snap. Or you still want to pressure it out of trips. You're ultimately rolling the sky. Sky to me, now we're going 2 read on 2 and 3 with the free and the backside safety. Key thing in sky, now your force defender is safety in sky. So you get a bubble out of number 3. The corner's got his deep quarter. The backside safety has his deep quarter. And any sort of block by number 2, the safety that rolls down has to win outside there. He has to force that bubble back to pursuit, either coming from the rover or the inside linebacker. So those are our options if the motion goes towards the rover, and I think it's best to set that rover to the field side. If the motions go away, now this comes down to film study and stuff, but the motion goes away from that passing strength into the boundary. We probably are not going to make a drastic adjustment, just because the space over there is less limited, unless they are like going to do quarterback runs and we gotta match numbers. Ultimately, the amount of space, usually things are coming back. A lot of teams' formation in the boundary, they like to get back to the field some way, some form. So it really depends on the scouting report. But for the most part, we would end up just running straight quarters over here. And what straight quarters is, now our Will's walked out of the box, but it's a B gap that he's got to get to. Our Mac's going to adjust over and probably be about head up on the center, at least that's what we've coached. And then the rover is support, especially if the passing strength was on this side to begin with. Something that's real likely is a swing or speed option. We want the rover there to be able to play the running back, and then depending on the blocking scheme, the box is going to get played. The box, either the defensive end or the middle linebacker, would be playing the quarterback. So our check motion in the boundary there, most of the time it would probably be quarters unless you want to do something else very specific based on scouting. So now, handling things, if we set the rover, the nickel to the boundary, motions to the boundary, pretty simple to handle. Okay, number one, if we feel like we're just 100% covering pass and we're not worried about screen game, probably just sticking with quarters is how we end up handling it. Free roll back, you're looking for something coming out of those three receivers. And we can play quarters. If we feel we want to jump things and get into more of a two-read thing, we can go roll cloud. Really, the alignment wouldn't change much between those two. Just the corner's going to have a harder trigger, and something coming to the flats, the corner's going to pull this trigger and go to it. Whereas quarters, if something would go to the flat, ultimately it's the rover's job to go match that. So motion to that rover, no big deal, because we've already matched numbers, and then on top of that, in the boundary, the amount of space is much smaller. Head into the field. Easiest, simplest thing. Okay, we get motion to the field. Easiest, simple thing. If we feel we match up, we're just going to run with that, man that guy up, especially if the team does something like they do that motion and they're counting on you rolling the secondary. If their tendency is to do that and then just work back this way, quarterback run game, speed option, one-on-one, something like that, we're going to keep the rover over there, okay, and go cover zero there. If we feel like the scouting report says, hey, they're going to do something to that trip side there, they put the back over here as the fourth guy, they go that way for whatever reason, and your rover was into the boundary, jet sweep's coming. Lots of moving parts here, and this is why the number one reason, unless something says otherwise, put the rover to the field, because the amount of movement here. So let's say the back is over here. They've motioned him away from the rover. Number one check's probably sky. Let the corner stay manned up. He's our sky down guy. And we gotta get a bunch of parts moved over, and we probably gotta shuffle the box. That's how you would have to handle that. So again, number one reason not to set the rover to the boundary, in my opinion. We're not bad there with Sky at all. Just Will is now the A-gap player. Mac is ultimately a D-gap player, and then the rover, based on what ends up happening, if he gets fast flow to the outside, he's going to be there. Guys are going to take the cutback for each other. If he gets flow away, he's shuffling and he's checking B-gap for cutback. So that is handling motion away from the rover being set into the boundary. Your last option out of a 4-2-5 structure, and some coaches are going to say, why don't you just do this? Run cover 3. There's not much movement that's going to be needed. If you coach up some cover 3 at all, having that as a check, it at least gives you a quick alignment to anything, because it's largely symmetrical. It might be a little bit of movement out of the box. Ultimately, rover versus the boundary down safety, no real difference there. Even if you're starting here and you're spinning down, so you're disguising which way you're rolling it, you get some options with that. So again, the motion happens new number 3, new number 4/2 weak, and the amount of movement, I think at most maybe the Mike Mack linebacker, he slides out, stacks the defensive end. Will slides in. He is initially A-gap responsible, and maybe you tighten up a little bit with the boundary safety. Maybe the free walks a couple steps this way because he's more likely to help over there. The other benefit of cover 3 to those motions, now you got just the number 1 weak left. You got 2 guys to bracket him. The safety can play him low on a slant and force things back to that corner. Or ultimately, both guys could drop if you really need to. A long yardage situation, you could do a bunch of different things with both that safety and corner. You could roll and do a cover 2 bracket on that boundary side where the corner is low and outside, and the boundary safety there is deep and inside. So that is the benefit of going cover 3 to the motion side, and then leaving the boundary safety back there. Obviously, motion away from that rover, and really where you put the rover is now irrelevant, because you've got 2 nickel, 2 low force defenders on both sides. So you get the motion away. Again, more of the same. Just make sure you've got leverage on 2 to funnel them back to the free safety. The will maybe 1 step, the Mac maybe 1 step, the rover a couple steps in to keep whatever leverage, 4x4, 5x5, whatever you coach him to be off the tackle. So cover 3, I think, is a great option if you're not trying to force things in the flats with the corners, if you're not trying to jump stuff with the corners. Last option is going cover 1. And your cover 1 adjustment, other than going cover 0, your cover 1 adjustment, again, symmetrical, so it doesn't matter if it goes field or boundary. We'll say it goes to the field, so you get that. What I would coach up if I want to stay cover 1, because maybe the free is initially spying the quarterback or the running back. If I want to keep, or I need to help, hey, whatever slot receiver is where the free is going to favor a little bit. If that happens, we're initially man. My man goes away, I'm spinning deep. Now I am the free or the spy. I'm providing extra help in the coverage. I'm spying something in the backfield, again, making a 7-man box. And the safety that was deep, roll a little down, still got your 4 guys covered. And then you got either a free safety to help with pass or to spy something in the backfield. So those are your options. You can roll cloud or sky out of a 2-high structure. And then you can end up not moving much if you're working out of a 1-high structure, cover 3, or just trading off jobs real quick if you're running cover 1. So those are some ideas for handling motions out of a 4-2-5.
Thanks for checking out this quick snap on Coaching Football with Brian Klee. Please follow me on Twitter at Coach Klee. Subscribe to the channel, Coaching Football with Brian Klee, by clicking down below. And if you have any further follow-up questions, email me at coachbrianklee@gmail.com.